Hope I'm audible. Hello everyone, I'm Suraj from Framework team. I've been developing features for Framework since more than 3 years, and I'm one of the active maintainers of Framework right now. This year, we were able to release version 13 of Frappé Framework. It is one of the most anticipated versions because it underwent a major redesign after 7 years. It also has lots of new features and enhancements that will surely help Phoenix to be more user-friendly, fast, and secure. Today, we will explore a few of those features that we have in version 13. So let's start. First of all, the redesign. Of course, it took a lot of effort, months of effort to get this done, months of effort to plan, design, and actually implement it. So we were able to achieve this milestone before we could release version 13. Right now I'm just going to show few of the visual differences between version 12 and version 13. So let's start. This is the desk view in version 12. Now with the sidebar, you can easily navigate between modules. The form view. Here, the visual hierarchy has been handled pretty well using the card layout that we introduced in version 13 for our forms. The print view. Now, all the important quick settings related to the current OpenPrint format will be accessible in the left, and it will be much more easy to access. The Kanban view. All the cards are now much more detailed, interactive, and are in focus now. We did similar tweaks throughout the system to make the application more user-friendly and to improve the user experience. We also introduced our icon set. We created it in-house with help of Timeless team. It adds to the sleek look of the UI. Our controls got love as well. These are much more in line with the modern look. And of course, the dark mode. Our community did try to implement this couple of times, but because our styling system was not very suitable for this, all the implementation looked very half-baked. Now, since we were able to get our styling system right, we introduced this as a first-class feature. Now we have cleaner routes. We gave some thought to our URLs. Previously, we had hash, redundant text, and capital letters in our URL. We made it much simpler and easy to remember. Now, just by adding /app/user, you can access list of user, and adding user ID in front of it, you can get the record of it. For different views, you can just add /view/report or Kanban view or tree view, etc. Client script for list view. We renamed custom script with client script because it is more apt. And previously, client script was using client script. We were only able to extend our form views. Now we can use it to extend our list views as well. I'm going to quickly give a walkthrough of what I meant by that. In your client script, you can select the doc type, and we now have the option of apply to. You can select list and add a simple script inside that to give a personalized touch to your list views. With this script, we can render our list. We can render a specific column, this expected end date, in a remaining date format instead of that standard date format. So this feature can be used to give a personalized look to your list views, and if you follow any convention for your data, you can use that to represent. You can use that in your to render your list view. We introduced a couple of new controls: duration and icon. Previously, we were not able to add duration. We had time and date, but not duration. Now using this, you can add that. You can also use icon picker for any creative purpose that requires icon inside your app. With this, we now have total of 39 controls. For us, controls are the way to express your data, and we are always excited to introduce such meaningful controls to the framework to make the framework more expressive. Okay, group mentions. It's quite self-explanatory. You can mention a group of people with a single comment, and this is particularly useful to direct a piece of information within for a specific team or a group of people in a specific department. Website tracking. This is a simple in-app website view tracker. You can enable it using this enable in-app website tracking checkbox. What it does is it gives you the data of page views per site or web page and all the unique visitors. You can use this data to deduce some actionables for your website. For example, if you have a web page which is frequently visited, you can have a CTA where you can drive more meaningful interaction out of it. And there are many more such features I would like you to explore. Many people are already using version 13 right now. And if you are not already, I would urge you to update, because we have also introduced lots of performance improvements in that. It will definitely be beneficial. So I hope you like this iteration, and we would love to get more feedback on it. So yeah, that's it from me today, and thanks a lot for listening. Now we have Dipesh from ERP Next team. He will help you explore all the new features that we introduced in accounting module of ERP Next. So over to you, Dipesh.
I hope my screen is visible. Thank you, Suraj, for showing us all these cool new features. So let me begin by introducing myself. My name is Dipesh and I work as an engineer at Frappe. I have been contributing to ERP Next from the past 3 years, and in the upcoming slides, I'll be taking you through some of the features that were introduced in ERP Next version 13. So let's get to it. So the first feature we have is the improved payments and bank reconciliation. In the earlier versions, there were quite a few issues with the implementation, which we have tried to address in the current version. Let's try and understand the issues with the help of an example. So let's say you receive your payments using a payment gateway. Most of these payment gateways don't pay you out as and when they receive the money against the invoices. There is usually a bulk repayment at the end of each month, which they do post deducting their charges. Now you can imagine what a tedious task it would be if you want to reconcile that bulk payment against 100 of those invoices. So in the latest version, we have tried to address this issue. As you can see in the screen, all you have to do is select the payment entry that has to be reconciled and select the invoices against which the payments have to be allocated. So the system will automatically allocate the payments based on the FIFO order. You can review the allocations and then quickly reconcile all your transactions in one go. I'm sure this will really help a lot of users and make their reconciliations easier. So next we have is the bank reconciliation tool. As you can see, the UI is quite different from the earlier versions. Once you upload your bank transactions, you can see the closing balance as per your bank statement, as per the ERP and the difference. So all the unreconciled transactions will also be listed below in a table against which you could take actions. So as soon as you click on action against any of the transactions, you will get a pop-up asking you to select different vouchers. So as soon as you select the vouchers, all those vouchers will be listed in a table below along with their reference and the party details, which will surely help you to reconcile your payments easily and your bank transactions easily against those vouchers. So the next feature we have is the automated GST setup. So this is only applicable for companies with country as India. So in the earlier versions, before once you do your company setup, before you could get a GST invoice out of the system, you had to go through n number of steps. You had to create sales and sales purchase and taxes charges template, item tax template, tax categories, and then lastly update those account heads in the GST settings to be able to view your reports. But all this process we have automated in the latest version. As soon as you set up your company, all these masters are by default created and you can right away go to the invoice creation. Next we have is the control deferred revenue booking. I'm sure you all know what deferred revenue is, so I won't go into much of the details. I'll quickly highlight the enhancements that has been made. So by default in ERP Next, the deferred revenue is booked based on the number of days at the end of each month. So due to this, since all these months could have different number of days, due to this, a different amount is booked in each of those months. But many users don't want this. They want a fixed and consistent amount should be booked in each of those months. So let's try and understand. By the new setting in version 13, you could achieve this. So let's try and understand if it's working with the help of an example. Let's say a company offers a subscription service for with a monthly charge of 9.99, and a customer subscribes for that service for a period of 6 months. So as you can see in the first row, if you will book deferred revenue based on the number of days, a different amount will be booked in each month. So since the subscription starts on 20 January, there are only 11 days that will be billed in January. So you will see 311. February has 28, so a different amount. March has 31, so a different amount. April 30, then again a different amount. But if you change these settings to months, you will see a consistent amount that will be booked in each of these months. In January, only one third of the income will be booked. In February and the upcoming months, the entire subscription amount will be booked irrespective of the number of days. And in the last month, the pending two-third will be deducted. And not only this, you can, unlike previous versions, you can also book this referred revenue via JVs. So you get more control over them. And you can also choose between an option either to directly submit those journal entries or keep them in draft and manually submit those entries. So the next feature we have is discount accounting. So offering discounts against invoices is a pretty common scenario in most of the businesses. So by default in ERP Next, whenever you apply a discount against an invoice, the income against the items is booked based on the net rate of the items after deducting the discounts. But as a business owner, whenever you are seeing your trial balance or P&L, you would definitely like to see how much discounts are offered in a specific period of time. So for discount accounting comes to your help here. You can enable this feature by navigating to the account settings doc type and enabling the discount accounting there. As soon as you enable discount accounting, fields for selecting the discount accounts get visible in across invoices and some a few of the masters. Whenever as soon as you apply a discount against an invoice, the system will ask you to select the discount as well, and the GL entry will be booked as you can see in the screenshot. So the entire income will be booked against an item, which and a separate GL entry will be passed for the discount amount. So since a separate GL entry is passed for the discounts, you will see this amount in your trial balance and P&L as well. Also, if you offer item-wise discounts, you can set up a default discount accounts for the items, and whenever any discount is offered against those items, so by default discount will be booked in the respective accounts. So next feature we have is the TaxJar integration. So in US, there are more than 50 states, and each of these states could have a different tax laws. Now you can imagine what a complex task it would be configuring this in ERP Next. So this is where the Texar integration comes to your help. Texar offers a really clean APIs, and using this you can even automate your text filings. So all you for setting up, all you have to do is sign up on Texar, get the live API key, and fill those in the Texar settings type in ERP Next. You can also enable create Texar transaction if you want to automate your text filings. Update the account heads under which you want to do your text booking, and save the settings. The next step is to update the Nexus. So as soon as you click on update Nexus list, all the Nexus that you have set up on Texar will be by default pulled into the system, and you are good to go. As soon as you create a new invoice based on the addresses and the Nexus that you have configured for your company and the customer, appropriate taxes will be applied. And not just this, if you want item wise taxation, you can assign appropriate product tax categories against each of the items, and Taxar will automatically apply item specific transactions against each of your line items. Not just this, we have certified this integration with Taxar, and Frappe is now a certified Taxar partner, and you can find this listing on the Taxar partnership page. So that was it from my side. For the next set of features, I would like to hand over to Richa.
Thank you, Dipesh, for the wonderful overview. Hello, everyone. I am Rucha Mahabal from the ERP Next team, and I'll be walking you through some of the enhancements done in HR, payroll, and CRM. Moving on. So we all are familiar with the tree view that the framework provides. For employees, it is rendered based on the reports to field. But in large organizations where it's difficult to remember employees by name, people need a more graphical way to explore the hierarchy. For this very reason, we introduced organizational charts. An org chart is a graphical representation of your organizational structure with all the meta information about the employees, like the image, name, designation, number of connections they have. You can click on multiple nodes and interact with the chart. It also provides you an option to expand all the nodes and export to PNG. The org chart also comes with a very simple mobile view where you can explore the hierarchy. Moving forward, we introduced a feature called full and final settlement. During employee exits, HR has a lot of work to settle payables, receivables, assets of employees. To make this process easy, we introduced full and final statement, wherein the HR can add a checklist of all the payables like salary slips, expense claims, bonus paid via additional salaries, receivables like employee advance or loan paid out to employees. The full and final statement also pulls in all the assets allocated to the employee based on the current records in your system from asset movements. The HR can then use this view to settle all the documents and record a journal entry to settle payables, receivables, and assets with ease. Moving forward to the CRM enhancements, we added a feature called prospects to group leads. Let's look at the problem statement. Let's say you are a salesperson working at a company and you get multiple leads from a single company every day. Moving on. You can see that it's a hassle for the salesperson to keep a track of all the events and statuses, communications, addresses, and contacts linked to multiple leads from a single company. This is where the prospect doc type comes to rescue. As you can see, you can group multiple leads into a single prospect from the lead list view. The prospect provides the data aggregation of all the things like the meta information about the organization, address and contact aggregation. All the leads are linked in the child table and the status is synced along with email, mobile numbers, lead owners from the individual lead document. Apart from that, communications are also aggregated in the timeline so that you don't have to skim through individual lead documents to get context of the prospect. Moving forward, we already had analytics on the sales invoice part, but there was no analytics present on opportunity amount or expected closing date of opportunities. For this, we added two reports. One is sales pipeline analytics, which gives you an overview based on different frequencies. You can view the summary based on opportunity amount or number. And you can also see the charts based on opportunity owner, the source of opportunities or the types. Moving forward. The second report is opportunity summary by sales stage, which gives you a summary of all the opportunities at different sales stages so that you have a clearer idea of your sales pipeline. I would now like to hand over the talk to Marika D'Souza from the ERP Next team.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rucha. I think org chart looks really amazing. So hi, everyone. I'm Marika D'Souza from the ERP Next team. And today I'm going to walk you through some features in the stock manufacturing and the e-commerce integrations. So I think a good place to start would be the e-commerce integrations. So businesses are trying to venture more and more into multi-channel retail, of course, because each of these platforms have their own brand presence over the years, and they serve different demographics. And of course, you'd want that for your business. But as you increase more and more of these channels, they come with their own horde of problems, such as inventory syncing sometimes gets problematic, or invoice syncing, order syncing, etc. So we already have Shopify integration in place, but we've additionally added the Unicommerce integration. Now, Unicommerce is an aggregator where you can sell all your items on multiple platforms, and it makes syncing just so much easier. So broadly, what this integration supports is it offers a two-way syncing of item catalogs between ERP Next and Unicommerce. It also offers inventory, like a one-way inventory syncing between ERP Next and Unicommerce. It offers sales invoice creation, and also sales invoice generation, and also sales order syncing. Now, moving forward to the manufacturing module, we realized that we didn't really have great loss management in ERP Next. So when you're manufacturing finished goods, of course, scrap items do come out of the process, but also there is loss in the process. Now, the inherent difference between loss and scrap is that loss has no value to it and can't be reused or repurposed or stored in any warehouse such as scrap. So let's move ahead and see how this can be incorporated into ERP Next. So as you can see from this image, the scrap items table has been repurposed into a scrap and loss items table. You can basically just mention if the item is a loss item. You can mention how much percentage of it is going to be washed away as process loss. And we can go ahead and see how that affects the stock entry in the next slide. So here, as you see, we wanted to manufacture two quantity of a certain finished good. And we mentioned that 10% of it is going to be washed away as process loss. So as you can see in the table on row number 3 and 4, 1.8 quantity was a finished good that actually came out. And a part of it, that's 0.2, was washed away as process loss. So the important highlight here is process loss is a part of the finished good, while scrap is additional to the finished good. We also, moving forward, can see a report that will help you see how much loss was generated through your work order. Now, this is really, really helpful for you to understand how much have you invested in your raw materials and how much of it is getting washed away via loss. So it can help you make smart decisions and minimize your losses. Jumping over to the stock module, we've added a new fresh feature called Put Away. Now, Put Away, to summarize, is essentially sort of the opposite of a pick list. It automates all the incoming stock in your warehouse and automatically assigns it warehouses or spaces in your warehouse. Now let's look at a problem statement. So assume you have a large warehouse or a large space called zone 1. This could be a group node or a group warehouse. This has smaller spaces within it, and all these spaces in this warehouse are marked alphabetically. What you want to do now is you want to sort of automate how you keep the incoming items. So you want to place all the incoming goods into A first until A is full, then into B until B is full, and then into C. Moving ahead. So let's see how we can do that in ERP Next is you can configure a put away rule. It's a simple doc type. As you can see from the image, you can mention an item and its warehouse. And what this primarily works on is capacity and priority. Capacity is what is the maximum capacity of this particular warehouse. And of course, it cannot take more than this capacity. So here you can see I put the capacity as 200. So only 200 numbers can be stored in this warehouse. And with priority, I can tell the system what warehouse should be considered first and what next, and so on and so forth. And you can see a checkbox there too called apply put away rule. Now this is visible in your transactions such as purchase, receipt, and stock entry. So you can sort of tell the system that, hey, in this transaction, I want you to automate and select what warehouse should this item go in. So, you know, in your items table, you automatically have warehouses selected. You don't have to select it on your own. And this is a one-time setting. It's so good, like it's so scalable over the years. So if we go ahead, we can see from the rule that we just created, items went into a warehouse A, which got full, then into B, and whatever was left went into C, because we all put capacities to it and we put priorities to it. Now let's look at a case. What happens when the same priority is shared? I think I can show this to you with a nice visual example. So right here, you can see A and B are highlighted. A and B both have the same priority. And just let's assume A is already half full and some new stuff came in. So now we're going to give priority to the pending capacity or the free space. So clearly A has lesser free space than B, while B had nothing in it. So the new goods that came in will go to B rather than A, because both of them have equal importance and we wouldn't mind keeping it in either. We can also have a nice overview of this using the warehouse capacity summary page. It's colorful, it's quite less cognitive load, and you can just see how much of the capacity is full, and, you know, make tweaks to your rules also if you want to. So yeah, that's wrapping up all of our features for version 13. I really hope you guys enjoyed all of those. And a special shout out to the entire Frappe engineering team, as well as the whole extended Frappe team. A lot of these features, you know, we put in a lot of development, planning, testing, etc., which is not one man's job. So yeah, thank you. I hope you guys enjoy version 13.
Thank you guys for all the feature updates. There are a couple of questions. You can take a few and then remaining we can answer during the Q&A session.
So the first one is like the bank reconciliation still needs another iteration to improve some little things. It's a bit complicated, has some bugs, and I would recommend testing with a non-technical user. So Adam, thank you for like giving your feedback on this. We'll be really like thankful if you could let us know the issues that you are facing, and we can so that we can resolve them as soon as possible. I guess there's a question for Suraj. A major pain point with the new UI is not being able to use any icon libraries. Okay,
So
Suraj,
I've replied it in the chat. I'll repeat it. We are planning to introduce a new icon set so that we can access icons from different applications. So as you said, we need a ability to use different icons from different libraries. Maybe we can consider when we are working on that.
So one more question is auto SMS feature available in the latest version? I guess we have notifications, but SMS is not supported in that, so no, not yet.
I think there was a question for Rucha too. I'm sorry, Basav, please go ahead.
No, I have a question for you. With put away rule, looks like we are slowly heading towards warehouse management as well. So is there a plan to build a separate warehouse management module, or will it kind of evolve as part of the inventory module right now, which we have?
So right now, we have been discussing, or there have been talks of a WMS, because of course warehouses are much more complex as shelves, racks, bins, etc. So that's still under discussion. So there's nothing finalized yet. So yeah, I can't comment on it. But of course, I'll probably publish it and discuss once we have concrete plans for it. But probably in this coming year, yeah, we're planning to go ahead with something like that.
Great.
Yeah, I think Rucha, there was a question for you. Can I import employees on the org chart from Active Directory?
Yeah, so the org chart depicts all the active employees. So you can import employees, and there is a filter for company.
Hello, Rucha.
Was I audible?
Yep.
No, we lost you for the last 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, the question was regarding active employees in the org chart. So org chart shows all the active employees from the employee master, and you also have a filter to view the employees based on company. So the hierarchy can be filtered. So you can, yeah, import employees and view it in the org chart and export to PNG.
So I'll take one last question. There is one question from Kishore. He says need bulk payment option to multiple suppliers through single window, same like SAP. So Kishore, there is already a feature called payment orders in ERP Next, which is I guess more or less designed for the same purpose. So I'll recommend you exploring that and let us know like if this satisfies your use case.
I had one question to Marika. Is there any payment reconciliation happening with Unicommerce on ERP Next with the online marketplaces? Because that's a very big pain point for any e-commerce seller.
No, as of now, I think it just supports basic syncing. So your reconciliations would be expected to happen within ERP Next itself. So from Unicommerce, the ones that I mentioned in the PPT, that's items, inventory, sales orders, and sales invoices are what's supported as of now.
Okay, and the stock inventory sync, which happens one way, as mentioned,
Right.
would that be like a stock reconciliation over and it would override Unicommerce stock as a reconciliation, or how would it be?
Yeah, so I think, I think it would sort of set the stock. So I don't think Unicommerce has a very complex WMS system. So in ERP Next, based on each of your transactions, it will override, whatever your current state is at the end of the day, or whatever your syncing schedule is. It will sort of override the quantity or the balance quantity there. So the start of the next day, whatever the end quantity was, will reflect over there based on all your ledgers here.
Yes. Are we good to go for Unicommerce, or is there still some time?
So I think Ankush mentioned it yesterday. He's been working on it. There's, I think, a last round of testing that is going on, but it's already pushed to the ERP Next integrations app. So I think you could test like a beta version, but I think you probably want to wait till the end of the month for like an official announcement for a prod version. Yeah.